There's a silent battle many of us fight, often without even realizing it. A battle where the lines blur, where you become the very thing you're fighting against, even for a fleeting moment. It's a twist in the narrative of abuse that can leave you questioning your own sanity, your own character. We're talking about reactive abuse, not the initial strike, but the desperate, sometimes explosive, reaction to sustained psychological torment. It's when the constant chipping away at your self-worth, the relentless gaslighting, the emotional manipulation finally pushes you to a breaking point. And in that moment, in that raw, unfiltered eruption, the abuser points a finger, smiles, and says, "See, you're the problem." Think about that for a moment. The sheer injustice of being provoked, pushed to your absolute limit, and then condemned for your human response. It's a vicious cycle, a trap expertly laid, designed to make you believe you are the instigator, the unstable one, the truly abusive party. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on this insidious dynamic. We're going to break down, sign by undeniable sign, what reactive abuse looks like, how it manifests, and why understanding it is crucial for anyone caught in its suffocating grip. This isn't about excusing hurtful behavior, but about understanding its roots when you've been pushed beyond endurance. If you've ever felt like you're losing control or wondered why you're reacting in ways that feel out of character, this video is for you. Let's unpack these signs one by one to illuminate the shadows of reactive abuse. Sign 1, the explosive outbursts. You can't control or feel you can't. This is often the most visible and distressing sign. You find yourself yelling, screaming, perhaps even throwing something in frustration. These aren't premeditated acts of aggression. Instead, they are spontaneous, desperate reactions to prolonged emotional pressure. Imagine a pressure cooker with no release valve. Eventually, it's going to blow. The abuser has been turning up the heat, steadily, subtly, for weeks, months, even years. They might have been dismissing your feelings, invalidating your experiences, constantly contradicting you, or engaging in silent treatments. Then, one seemingly minor incident, a forgotten chore, a late arrival, becomes the spark that ignites the powder keg. Your reaction, while perhaps disproportionate to that single event, is a cumulative response to a mountain of unresolved emotional pain and frustration. The depth of the pain inside you is finally being expressed. Sign 2, the deep regret and shame that follow. Unlike a true abuser, who often feels justified or even pleased by their actions, the person experiencing reactive abuse is immediately flooded with overwhelming shame, guilt, and regret. You might spend hours replaying the incident, agonizing over your words, hating yourself for losing control. This deep remorse is a hallmark. It's a testament to your core desire to be a good, kind person. Your reaction goes against your intrinsic values, and that dissonance creates immense internal suffering. The abuser, however, often uses this shame against you, reinforcing the narrative that you are the problem, further eroding your self-esteem. They'll tell you, "Look at what you did. How could you?" Knowing full well they instigated the entire scenario. Sign 3, the feeling of being constantly provoked. You might notice a pattern. The abuser consistently pushes your buttons, crosses your boundaries, and says things they know will upset you. It's a deliberate strategy. They are baiting you, setting you up for a fall. They might bring up past mistakes, criticize your deepest insecurities, or deliberately withhold affection or attention. This isn't accidental. It's calculated. They know your triggers, and they relentlessly pull them, aiming to elicit a strong reaction. It's a macabre game of psychological chess, where your emotional well-being is the pawn. They want to see you unravel, because your unraveling gives them leverage and confirms their warped perception of you. Sign 4, the abuser's sudden calmness during your outburst. This is chillingly common. As you're losing your composure, perhaps shouting or crying, the abuser often becomes eerily calm, even detached. They might stare blankly, cross their arms, or even smile faintly. This calm demeanor in the face of your distress is a powerful sign. It's not empathy, it's a strategic move. They are watching their plan unfold, gathering evidence of your instability or abusiveness. Their calmness is a weapon designed to make you feel even more out of control and isolated in your emotional storm. It's as if they are saying, without words, "See, you're the crazy one." Sign 5, the constant need to justify and explain yourself. You find yourself constantly trying to explain your actions, your feelings, and your reactions. You might send long texts or emails, try to have countless conversations, desperate for the abuser to understand your perspective. This stems from the gaslighting and manipulation that precedes the reactive abuse. The abuser has consistently twisted reality, making you question your memory and perceptions. So, when you react, you feel an urgent need to correct their false narrative, to prove your sanity and your innocence. This is exhausting and often futile, as the abuser isn't interested in understanding. They're interested in control. The endless loop of explanation is another way the cycle keeps you trapped. Sign 6. The feeling of being trapped and desperate for release. A profound sense of being suffocated, of having no way out, is a strong indicator. You might feel like you're walking on eggshells, constantly anticipating the next trigger, the next manipulative tactic. This feeling of entrapment builds up, creating immense internal pressure. The reactive outburst becomes a desperate, albeit unhealthy, attempt to release that pressure, to break free, if only for a moment. It's a primal scream from a soul that feels cornered and under siege. The cage they've built around you is invisible, but its bars are made of fear and emotional exhaustion. Sign 7. The isolation from friends and family. Abusers often isolate their targets, slowly but surely. They might criticize your friends, create drama around your family gatherings, or simply make it so difficult for you to maintain outside relationships that you eventually give up. This isolation leaves you with fewer external perspectives, fewer people to validate your experiences, and fewer safe spaces to vent. When you react, you have no one to turn to who truly understands the full scope of the abuse. This isolation amplifies the shame and makes it even harder to recognize the reactive nature of your outbursts. You are left alone with the abuser's narrative, which inevitably paints you as the villain. Sign 8. The erosion of your self-esteem and identity. Before the reactive outbursts even begin, the abuser has often systematically chipped away at your self-worth. They criticize your appearance, your intelligence, your dreams, your parenting, everything. You start to internalize these criticisms, questioning your own capabilities and value. When you then react in ways that feel out of character, it further confirms these negative beliefs about yourself. You might start to believe you are, indeed, unlovable, unstable, or even a bad person. This erosion of self-esteem is crucial for the abuser, as it makes you more dependent on their validation and less likely to challenge their narrative. You lose sight of who you truly are, becoming a distorted reflection in their cruel mirror. Sign 9. The cycle of apology and renewed tension. Following a reactive outburst, you'll likely apologize profusely, genuinely feeling remorseful. The abuser might accept your apology, perhaps even offer a fleeting moment of kindness, creating a false sense of hope. However, this honeymoon phase is brief. The underlying patterns of abuse quickly resume, and the tension begins to build again. This cyclical nature, tension, outburst, apology, temporary calm, is a classic pattern in abusive relationships. It's a treadmill of despair, where the scenery changes slightly, but you're always running in place. This cycle trains you to be on edge, waiting for the next eruption, whether it's theirs or your own reactive one. Sign 10. The feeling of losing your mind. Perhaps one of the most terrifying signs is the pervasive feeling that you are losing your grip on reality. The gaslighting, the constant contradictions, the denial of your experiences. All of this is designed to make you doubt your own sanity. When you react to these provocations, it further fuels this fear. You might wonder if you are truly unstable, if you are imagining things, if you are genuinely the abusive one. This psychological warfare is incredibly damaging, leaving you disoriented and desperate for clarity. You're constantly checking your memories, second-guessing your perceptions, and feeling an unsettling disconnect from your own mind. This feeling of being utterly lost inside your own head is a profound and painful experience. Sign 11. The obsessive need to prove your innocence. Because the abuser has effectively flipped the script, making you out to be the aggressor, you might develop an almost obsessive need to gather evidence, to prove your innocence. You might start recording conversations, saving texts, or journaling every interaction. This isn't a sign of paranoia. It's a desperate attempt to hold on to your truth in a world where your reality is constantly being denied. This need to prove yourself is exhausting and can consume your mental energy, pulling you further into the abuser's web. You're fighting a battle that can't be won on their terms. Sign 12. The overwhelming sense of exhaustion. Living in a reactive abuse dynamic is profoundly draining. The constant emotional vigilance, the cycles of tension and outburst, the endless self-doubt, the need to justify yourself. It all takes an immense toll. You might feel physically and emotionally exhausted all the time, even if you're getting enough sleep. This chronic fatigue is a direct result of the relentless psychological and emotional stress. Your mind and body are in a constant state of fight or flight, and that level of sustained adrenaline and cortisol production is simply unsustainable. You're running on fumes, and the tank is always empty. Recognizing these signs isn't about blaming yourself. It's about understanding a complex, often hidden, dynamic where a victim's natural human response to prolonged abuse is twisted and used against them. If you see yourself in these signs, know this: your reactions, however intense, are often a cry for help, a desperate signal that you are being pushed past your limits. It doesn't mean you're an abuser. It means you're a human being reacting to inhuman treatment. Breaking free from this cycle requires immense courage and often external support. It requires you to reclaim your narrative, to understand that your reactions, while perhaps undesirable, are rooted in a pattern of abuse inflicted upon you. Your feelings are valid, and your humanity is intact, even when it feels fractured. If this video resonated with you, if it shed light on something you've experienced or witnessed, please consider giving it a like. And if you want more insights into navigating complex emotional landscapes and reclaiming your well-being, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps us reach more people who need to hear these messages. What's one sign of reactive abuse that truly hit home for you? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your experience could be exactly what someone else needs to hear to feel less alone. And speaking of well-being, if you found yourself identifying with the emotional exhaustion or the constant stress we talked about today, you might find our last video, 6 Daily Habits That Are Affecting Your Mental Health, particularly helpful. It dives into practical ways to protect your peace in a chaotic world. Thank you for watching.